something simple like an accountability partner that can like keep you accountable to your routine. So like even like my routines, like wake up, go to the gym, journal, read my devotional, at night, read my Bible. Like I have like a certain routine. And then when I'm in the shower, I'm listening to certain podcasts. So like get someone to hold you accountable. That's stuff you can do that's like free. There's so much free information out there to help, like even about just like how to manage your money and set your money aside so that you can get yourself out of that spot where you're living paycheck to paycheck. So you've got to take the bull by the horns and just like start doing stuff.
Hey. Hey, everybody. Dwan Twyford, America's most sought after real estate investor. And welcome to another exciting episode of the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. And today it is Thursday. So on Thursdays, we interview guests. And this session is called Inside the Mind of Today's Millionaires. And we interview all kinds of people from all walks of life, doing all kinds of fun things, and see if the people that are doing what they do can give you an idea or a suggestion or a tip or something that will help you reach the same goals that you are also trying to reach. I have a super great guest today. So before I start, I just want you to know Dwanderful.com, Dwanderful, if you're new to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. And our motto at Dwanderful is people before profits. So if that resonates with you, you're at the right place and this is the right time. And today you're going to get some cutting edge information that you've been missing. And our motto is the new you in 22. So we're going to focus all year long on how to improve our lives and make things better. And of course, make more money. So my guest today is Miss April Crossley. April, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm so good. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Are you sitting on a patio?
No, I'm actually inside like a little short-term rental house.
Oh, it's cute. I see the outlet and the stuff. It looks like it might be like a little deck or a patio or something.
Yeah, it looks nice and beachy, but I'm in freezing cold Pennsylvania. So
well, I'm in Ohio. This is my childhood home. So I am in Ohio visiting my dad, and it is so cold here.
It is so cold.
I'm just like, I'm boggled by the amount of cold in the last 48 hours.
Yep, me too. Me too.
I grew up here and I didn't like the cold. So when I got out of high school, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Florida. And my family's like, yeah, I'll move to Florida. I'm like, watch me. And I did. I just moved and loved it ever since. So I've been here for a while and I'm like, well, so this is, how I grew up, but dang, it's cold up here.
Yeah.
Gosh darn. It's like, oh, I can't wait to leave.
I don't blame you.
No. So Pennsylvania, you're right there. So you're having the same weather we're having right now.
Yep.
So what we like to do is we like to have you tell us who you are, how to get in touch with you, and what you do. And then I like to go back and ask questions and find out how you got there. And basically, we want to know what's your deal.
Okay. So I'll try to keep it somewhat brief.
I've got a lot of questions. So
I'm a real estate investor from Berks County, Pennsylvania. I guess the easiest way to get in contact with me is April at Lazy Girl REI. I own a company called Lazy Girl Real Estate Investing. I flip houses and I own small multifamily apartment buildings. And I also do private lending and I passively and actively invest in syndications. I'm buying my first mobile home park and hopefully a second mobile home park. So I do pretty much everything real estate related, except I don't do development. I haven't learned that yet. So that's kind of what my background is in a nutshell. What else did you want me to tell you?
That's it. Your name, how to get a hold of you, and do you have a podcast?
I don't have a podcast. I have a YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is April Crossley.
Okay, April Crossley is Crossley. And I like April at lazygirlrei.com.
Yep. Yeah.
Who doesn't love that? Rhea, lazy girl. That's really very clever.
Yeah.
I love that. So let me ask you, how old are you?
43.
43. Okay. I'm always interested, like how old people are, and we kind of try and learn more about you and what you do and how you got to be April at lazygirlrhea.com. So I love that. So you said that you do some wholesaling, storage units. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
So right now we do wholesaling, we do flipping, and I've had those companies for a while. I worked in healthcare for 13 years. So I left my healthcare career when I was 35. So that's like 8 or 9 years ago, coming up on 9 years, I think, to start flipping full time and wholesaling full time. And then we slowly started buying small multifamily apartment buildings.
Yeah.
And once we were flipping, I would say successfully, I started out like as a side hobby. Like I read a book, I wanted to learn about it, flip maybe a house or two a year, whatever. Then it
when you say flipping, are you talking, because HGTV has all these terms that people don't understand. Are you talking wholesaling, or are you talking you fix it up and you rehab it and you flip it?
Yeah, we do both. We do both.
Because I when someone tells me they're flipping houses, I hear wholesaling. You find it, you sell to somebody else. And people, I fix and flip. I'm like, you mean you're a rehabber? Like, because everything HGTV, like flip this house, flip this, flip that. And then people, when I talk about wholesaling, they don't know what it is. It's like, no, wholesale. Like you get it here, you sell it there, wholesale.
Yeah. I don't like rehabbing, fix and flip. I mean, we'll do it. But over the past, I would say year or two, ever since COVID, we've really changed our strategy. Like I have to have a really good deal that I love, which I rarely fall in love with a deal. I'm very black and white. It's all about the numbers to actually want to renovate the house. Like we've just seen a shift over the past couple of years. Like it's much harder to get contractors. Supply prices are way higher. Yeah. It's not fun. Like the process is not fun. It's a ton of work. And what's happened is over the past 2 years is I can buy a house, close on it, clean it out, put it on the market and sell it to another investor from another state and make the same profit as I would if I would go in and fix it up. So I was like, why are we holding for 6 months when we can hold for 30 days and just turn around and make the same profit? So we've really been like cleaning them out. And once in a while, we'll actually fix one. But we used to do a lot more of the fixing. But with the way the market is, as crazy as it's gotten, we've just shifted our strategy to more wholesaling and like wholetailing, which is what we call it when we clean it out and just put it right back on the market.
Yeah. I have been wholesaling. I mean, wholesaling like solid for 30 straight years.
Wow.
And I started off rehabbing. So I would, buy it. In the beginning, I would move into it. So I was single, young, move into it, fix it up, sell it. And I did that for a few years. And then I discovered how to wholesale. It's like, hang on, I can get it here, I sell it there and just make the money. So I basically like never looked back.
Yep. Don't blame you. I tell people if you're super passionate about design and you love that part, like you love putting all the colors and pieces and tile backsplash together, kudos to you. That is not my thing. To me, it's a numbers. It's all a numbers game. And I'm not into design and making it look pretty. And I can skip that whole part and be just as happy.
Go after my own heart right here. If someone tells me that they're wholesaling, I'm like, oh, I love wholesaling. Because you're right. You can make the same amount of money. It's so much less work. You can do so many more deals, so much less everything. Yeah. And prices have gone so high. Yeah. I mean, shoot, plywood was like $20. That's like $100 for a piece of plywood. It's like, it's insane. Rehabbing. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy money. I mean, I'm with you. I don't think it's worth it, honestly.
Yeah.
I know I interview a lot of people that are like diehard rehabbers. And I'm always like, oh, good for you.
Good for you.
But from now, as I say that though, my husband and I bought 20 commercial buildings in a town. Okay. So we're rehabbing those, but we're like bringing them up to date, making them new, like, reviving this town. So that's really fun because we're taking things back to the way they were from like the 20s. And so, and that's all new to me, but to like, just like wake up every day and go rehab houses all day. It's like, no. I did it. And now I'm in my 60s. It's like, no, there's nothing in my body that wants to swing hammers all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm happy to oversee people, but you're right. Labor's hard. Everything costs so much money. It's like, dang, man.
Yeah.
So I think your lazy girl thing really rings with me, because I'm all about the path of least resistance.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
If I can make, 50,000 doing this or 50,000 doing that, took me 6 months, I'll just take the quicker path.
Yeah, that's what, like, even now when I had a friend send me a 17 unit the other day, and he's like, oh, here's this 17 unit. If you want to buy it, my family, we're going to be selling it. Let me know, or send it to other people you know. And I did the numbers and I looked at the cash on cash return. I'm like, I can write $100,000 check and put in an apartment syndication and make a better return than this. And I do nothing. And I get tax deductions and I do nothing except write a check. I'm like, so why would I want to own 17 more units with 17 more tenants? I'm like, I don't want to do that. It's yuck. No.
I love that. So tell me a little bit more about I love the Lazy Girl brand. So you're wholesaling, you're buying apartments. What else are y'all doing?
We do a lot of private lending. More and more private lending every year is the goal. I think if I could just be the largest private lender I could be, that would be awesome. I'm just not there yet, but eventually I'd just like to do that.
And they can find you about the private lending if they go to your site.
Yeah, or to YouTube. Yep, I talk about it a lot there too.
Yeah. I know. I like being. That's what I tell people. So once you get a certain amount of money, just lend it out.
Yeah.
They don't have to do anything. You just lend it out, get your checks. It's like, woohoo.
Yeah. And people are like, but you're the least lazy person I know. You work so hard. I'm like, yeah, because I like to create and build. Yeah. But then I like to take the path of least resistance. I'll create it and build it. Like I built the wholesaling company, the flipping company, the multifamily company. But then when someone showed me I could just write a check, I was like, wow, this is really nice. And gives me freedom to create and build other things I want to build. So
I am about the path of least resistance, as long as you're not cutting actual corners.
Oh, yeah.
Quality.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes my husband's like, oh, let's fix this top up. And I'm like, let's don't. Oh, this one. I said, no. Path of least, let's wholesale it. But if I am going to do anything like that, as long as I'm happy to hire things out, do whatever, but quality still has to be there. So
yes. Yep.
So I love that. I love your shirt, Grow Wealth.
Yeah. It says grow wealth, change lives.
That's it. Well, you know what? Growing wealth does change lives. So I love that about you too. So tell me, how long have you been? Well, actually, let's go back. When you were like 13, 14, 15, what was April doing back in those days?
I don't really know. I don't remember. I can tell you when I was 16, I had my son, my one and only son. I had my son when I was 16, and the couple of years following being 16 are kind of a blur because my life was really busy.
Yeah, that it was.
Yeah. So I had my son very young. And then I think I was a junior in high school when I had him. So then I had my son, had to go like get on welfare because I couldn't pay for food. And my parents, thank the heavens for them, let me keep living with them. But we're like, you have to pay for your own food and pay rent. I'm like, how the heck am I going to do that? But I figured it out. And I always worked from the time I was like 15. It's funny. I was listening to one of your shows where you talked about Denny's, and I was like, oh, I worked at Denny's. When I was like 15 or something.
No, I was all the way up in my 20s when I could have had a real job. I was working at Denny. So,
so I had him when I was 16, and then I went back to school. So I'd like wake up in the morning, drive my son to daycare, drop him off, drive to high school, go to school for my senior year, go back, pick him up from daycare, go home. And then I would work on the weekends, like 12-hour shifts on the weekends to help like pay for everything. And then I went to college, and it was the same thing. It was kind of like 4 hours of sleep a night was good enough. That's all I needed. I could not survive on that today.
No.
But when you have no choice, you have no choice. And so I went to college to get my degree in biology. So it's nothing financially, like when I was in school, I didn't even like finances or math or like any of that. I was completely financially uneducated, didn't know how to balance a checkbook. I didn't know anything. got my degree. I worked as a respiratory therapist. So I worked with patients on life support in like critical care and trauma. And then when I met my husband, I was renting a house, and my husband, my now husband, when we were dating, when he met me, he's like, "Why are you renting? You should buy a house." I'm like, "Why would I buy a house?" Like, that's how uneducated I was.
Oh,
like,
yeah. No. I know. I didn't buy my first house. I was like 33.
Yeah. I'm like, why would people buy houses? And then that's when I read the book, The 1 Minute Millionaire. And it was talking about how you could like buy houses, and like someone else would rent them and pay them off, and you keep all the equity. And my husband had this book, and I picked it up just randomly. And I said to him, "Why would someone do that? Why would they pay off someone else's house and then they get to keep the equity?" And he's like, "That's what you're doing with your landlord." So then things started to click, and I was like, wow, I should really buy a house. Like, I had good credit because I paid my bills, but I didn't I didn't even have a checkbook. I just go to the Mac machine and like see what my balance was and then call it a day. So I had a lot to learn,
I had so many days like that way back in the day. I would like take out cash and go pay the phone bill and go pay the water bill, and like go pay all the bills, like run errands all day, paying things with whatever I had. Like, I don't think I ever learned how to do any of that stuff. So I was like maybe getting up onto 30.
Yeah.
Seriously. And so they need to teach that stuff in high school.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They don't teach you any of this. And then I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, when I learned about real estate, then I was in school for my master's degree. Cause I'm like, I'm going to be the CEO of a hospital. That's just what I'm going to do. And I was like shadowing a CEO, and as soon as I read a couple real estate books, I dropped out of my master's program. So I went to my mom and was like, "I'm dropping out of my master's program. I'm going to go after real estate." I think my mom thought I was crazy. Yeah. And then the second time she thought I was crazy is when I was 35. And I remember driving out to her house and telling her, "I'm retiring from healthcare." And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "I'm going to give up my license," which, you have to sit for your boards and everything. And once you give it up, there's no going back. Like, you can't go back. And she's like, "You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't give up your license." I'm like, I do not want a safety net. Like, I need to go all in on this. Yep. And so on my 35th birthday, I walked into work and was like, "I'm retiring." And of course, everyone there was like, "You'll be back." And of course, I've never been back. So
they do. That's very brave of you, because when I started first doing real estate investing too, they're like, "Oh, you need a job, you need security, you need benefits, you need this, you need that." And I don't know. Once I closed that first deal, I was like, I'll make my own job, my own benefits, and my own security. Yeah. I'm doing this. And it's interesting. You were all the way to 35, you were working on your master's, and then like you got the real estate bug.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've had it for like a decade. You've really come a long way in a decade.
Yeah. Yeah, I have. It's been a fun ride. It really has.
I know. I love it too. I'm always excited when I meet people that love real estate too. Because I read that book also, The 1 Minute Millionaire. I remember reading The Millionaire Next Door.
Yeah.
And being like, I know people like that. My parents, all their friends are those people.
Yeah.
Like, they're all up here in the country and they're all driving trucks and they've got all kinds of money and real estate, all kinds of stuff. It was like, dang. That's funny when you get exposed to things, how much you're like, I know people that do this. I know all these things. Why has no one ever taught this to me?
Right. Yep. Yeah.
So I would imagine that's why you like doing your YouTube and stuff. So you can teach and educate people, right?
Yeah. People ask me like, "Why'd you start your YouTube channel?" I knew nothing about YouTube. I just jump into things. I'm like, I didn't start it to like make money off YouTube or become an influencer or this or that. I just started because I was like, wow, I was like literally on welfare, knew nothing about this. And now I'm well above a millionaire. And it's like, in like how many years and how many other people are like on welfare in this spot, and I could help them if I just talk about what I'm doing. So it was terrible. When I first started my YouTube channel, I didn't know what I was doing. I just go on there and record, and the videos were like terrible, but like then I got better as I went along. But I'm like, I'm going to talk about what I do and see if it helps anybody. And it helped people. So then that like motivated me to keep doing it. And that's my whole thing is like you can't like, I'm not saying you can't change lives from a poverty mindset, but the best thing you can do when you're growing wealth is help other people grow wealth. Because the more people that do it, the more lives we can change. It's like a ripple effect. And then it has a huge impact.
And it is a mindset, because like my mom and my dad are both from Tennessee. And so they were both raised pretty poor. Now my mom, she's 85 years old. And if you talk to her today, she's like, oh, we're poor. We're just poor. I'm as poor as a church mouse. And I'm like, Mom, you're not poor. But she never, ever stopped using the word poor. Yeah. Now my dad, they got divorced. He married someone else. They started buying rentals. They started buying this. They started buying that. And sometimes they'll say, I'm broke. But he never uses the word poor, because poor it's a mindset. Well, I'm poor. Poor means like this. I live this poor existence. You can be broke, but broke isn't the same as poor. Yeah. And it is hard. And I have worked on my mom. My mom has bought houses with me. She's made money, and she still to this day will be like, oh, we're poor. We're not poor. But I've never, it's like a fixed mindset that's ingrained for life, and she will not ever. And we've done she used to help me rehab some of my houses in the very beginning. And I give her, whatever money. She, I have so much money. I have to really save this, because we're poor. And my dad was never that way. He's like, no, man, I'm making money. I got this, I got that, I got rentals, and moving and grooving, and nobody's poor over here. So it is, sometimes you really have to motivate to help people, but you have to sometimes just start with their basic mindset.
Yes, agree.
Because you were on welfare there for a minute, so that so many people would just stay into that system, right? And they would just work through the system, because for some people it's just easier. You don't have to, get a Section 8, you get this, you get that. You just kind of work through the system. But then you raise, as my opinion, you raise a generation of people that grow up welfare minded, and everybody just wants handouts, and they want to work the system. And the system is designed to help you when you need it. That's what it's for. Yeah. Like when my husband first took off and I had my daughter, I had Medicaid because I was a broke single mom and she needed insurance. Yeah. But I did not look at that life. This is my lifestyle. Right. This is my solution to my temporary problem, and I will fix this problem, and then I'll show him. Yeah. But so I'm all for programs that people use the proper way. Yes. That's what they're for. But what I have a problem with is the people that literally live and then raise their kids and their grandkids and their kids. Oh, yeah. And then, I've got women that are retiring, and they've been in the system their whole life, and now they're going into like elderly Medicaid. It's like, who taught you that was the way that you should be?
And it's scary because, like, when you say that, coming from the healthcare world, when you get older, if you cannot care for yourself in your home and you're not healthy enough to take care of yourself and stay in your home, being on Medicaid will put you in one of the worst environments in a nursing home that you can imagine. I visit any nursing home where they only take Medicaid, and that should motivate you to get yourself off the system and grow enough wealth that you never end up in that position. It is sad and it's disgusting, and like the care isn't very good. It's bad. It's terrible. There's not a lot of government reimbursement for it. They're very short staffed. It's just a terrible environment.
Yeah, I had one of my uncles, he passed away like maybe 8 years ago, and he ended up with Medicaid. And so when he got up to be like 78, he had to go to a nursing home. And I was like, listen, I will do anything I can do to help you, Herman, but I don't have the money to spend the amount of money that you need. So he ended up in a place that does Medicaid. And I just remember thinking like, oh my gosh, I can't believe some of my family has to live all their life with a room with a curtain between the next person, and the health was so bad, the health care and the place. And I was just, I went high and low trying to find a better spot. I was like, dang, I never want to be that person.
Never. Yeah, I agree.
And people don't, you're right. They don't think about it later on. Yeah. Because when we're young, we're just trying to, gain our wealth, do our thing. And people don't think about like, hey, someday, if you're lucky and you live long enough, you'll be old. Yeah. People always say, what is one of your goals? I said, one of my goals, I want to be an old woman. I want to be like 90 with like flowing unicorn hair and doing amazing, and and not scraping my pennies together because I was on Medicaid my whole life. So I feel you so much with that. And you're right. especially having come from the healthcare,
it's bad.
It's not pretty.
Yeah.
It is definitely not pretty. So now if someone new was listening, they're like, hey, I don't know April, I don't know Dwan, I love these two girls. They're so awesome. What are like 3 tips that you could give listeners? Maybe taking the first step towards investing or buying a rental or wholesaling. Like, what are 3 tips you could give someone brand new? Because this session is inside the minds of today's millionaires. So you and I both clearly had a period that we were super broke.
Yeah.
And now we're not. But there's a lot of people listening that may be in that category. So what are like 3 tips you could give someone to help start them on the path to growing wealth and changing lives?
Yeah. I feel like if you're coming from, like, what I want to initially say is my first tip comes from my biggest regret, which is like the times during my business building that I didn't have a coach or a mastermind or something. That's my biggest regret. Like, I wish I could have been able to think big enough to always have a coach or be in a mastermind group, which I do now. But when you're coming from a place of broke, you can't always afford that, and that's fine, but you have to completely immerse yourself in learning about real estate. That's like listening to things on YouTube, positive podcasts like this. Like, you have to immerse yourself in that world, because you'd be surprised how that I grew up in a family that was very negative towards wealthy people, like hated wealthy people. And I feel like it affected me till I was probably like 40 and realized, like, this is still deep rooted in your brain, April, and this is like really affecting you. And what made me realize it was a mastermind group I joined. And I feel like even on the days where you don't feel like doing things, you need to do them. So there's days we all have where we don't feel like reading a book or doing daily devotionals or listening to YouTube and podcasts, but you need to do them. You're not going to feel like it, but you're going to feel better after you do them. So if you don't have the money for like a coach or a mastermind group, you have to like completely immerse yourself in that world and get something simple like an accountability partner that can like keep you accountable to your routine. So like even like my routines, like wake up, go to the gym, journal, read my devotional, at night, read my Bible. Like, I have like a certain routine. And then when I'm in the shower, I'm listening to certain podcasts. So like, get someone to hold you accountable. That's stuff you can do that's like free. There's so much free information out there to help, like, even about just like how to manage your money and set your money aside so that you can get yourself out of that spot where you're living paycheck to paycheck. So you got to take the bull by the horns and just like start doing stuff.
I agree. Yeah. I also did not have a mentor in the beginning. And my goal was, I'm going to be a millionaire, like, but I didn't know how. I did my first step. Oh, I'm going to be a millionaire. I did a deal. I made money. Woo, but it took me 10 full years to actually become a millionaire. So I didn't have RIA groups back then. This is like back, They didn't have all these things that they have now. Right. And I literally was that seat up the pants person trying to wing it and figure it out. I think is why I'm so passionate about teaching. So I'm like, listen, trust me, cut your learning curve.
Yes.
That's the one that knows more than you. And instead of you trying to reinvent the wheel, start where the wheel is and go from there.
Yeah.
So I agree. So give us 2 more. So I like the having a mentor, and just, I really like it about doing what you don't feel like doing, because there's all kinds of days I'm just like, and I'm like, no, I got to get up.
Yeah. So I would say like my other tip is partner.
I like that.
And then my third tip is private money. So I tell people all the time, you cannot scale if you can't think big enough to realize what a positive impact having the right partner can have on your business. And you're not using private money. You cannot scale, or maybe you can, but it will be so freaking slow. So slow. So you have to be learning about like borrowing private money, and not afraid to partner. And again, for free, just start learning about like Googling, how do you find the right business partner? How do you vet them? What core values do you look for? Stuff like that. I really, like, for a long time worked by myself, flipped houses by myself, bought small multifamily by myself, not because I didn't want a partner, because I would I couldn't think big enough. I couldn't think like, oh, people partner. And then the first time I partnered, I was like, oh, this is pretty nice. Like this person's got strengths I don't have. We're building something together. And then I was like, I want to do this partnering thing more. So then I started partnering on other stuff, and like different people have different areas of expertise and different personalities, and they're good at different things. And I've just gotten a lot further by partnering. And private money, I've used private money since I started. So that's just how I tell people how I was raised in real estate, was by using private money.
Yep.
So, but some people aren't, and they have to get over this mental hurdle of, I don't want to borrow money from someone. And I'm like, that is a mindset shift. You're not borrowing money. You're helping someone grow wealth. Private money lenders want to grow wealth, but they don't have the time or the resources. Like a lot of them own their own businesses. So it's not borrowing money. It's, I'm helping you grow wealth. They want to invest in real estate to grow wealth faster. So you're like doing them a disservice by not borrowing private money. It's a disservice. Like you're not helping someone grow wealth that you could be helping them grow wealth.
And growing your own too, because my first few rehabs, I would get them, live in them, fix them up, using credit card, everything by myself. Yeah. And after just a couple of years, I was like, dang, man, I'm tired. My body's tired. I need more money. And the RIA group, finally a RIA group opened up in South Florida. And I go to this meeting and I meet hard money lenders. And I was like, what is this fresh new concept? I don't know what this is. Oh. And I find out about wholesaling because I've been rehabbing. I was like, oh, hang on a minute. I can do this and this. Like it was like light bulbs were going off everywhere. And I remember the guy that gave me my first, it was Brad Emmer, gave me my very first loan. I was still rehabbing, gave me my first hard money loan on the rehab. And I was like, wow, I cannot believe how much easier this was. I just like, boom, there it was. And I started doing houses. And then pretty soon after, just very short, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wholesale. But you're right. When you have another person or a partner, I always tell people, if you're going to get a partner, find someone that's good at the things that you're not good at.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's really easy to go, oh, April and I are going to partner. We both love to do the same things. We're so much alike. But that's not that's a call to friend.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want someone like you.
Yes. The people I tend to partner with, I am not a paperwork kind of person. Paperwork totally stresses me out. I'm just like, oh. So I always tend to partner with people that are the paperwork side, all the side over there. It's like, hey, I'll go talk, I'll go schmooze, I'll do that, I'll structure stuff, and I just want to give it over here, and I just want to get a check. just give me a check at the end, and don't make me have to do all the paperwork. Because the very first person I hired a transactional coordinator. Yeah. Because of the amount of paperwork. Because I was like, well, I don't want to hire someone to help me find deals. And I love doing that. I like talking to homeowners, and I like talking to people face to face, but it's like the paperwork. Yeah. So that was my first employee. I hired someone to do paperwork. Yeah. And immediately, I was happier. Immediately. Yes. And I thought, wow, okay, this is nice. I could do more now. So I'm not boggled down over here with the stuff I hate. Yep, exactly. And people are like, oh, I don't know. I hear people, I'm sure you teach too. People are like, oh, I'm going to work with my friend, my cousin. We're going to work together. And it's like, oh, yeah. And sometimes a total stranger is your best partner. Yep, exactly. Because when you start working with family and friends, oh, it's my cousin, and we're going to rehab a house together. And so then next thing you know, you're doing all the work. Yep. And then you're fighting and carrying on, and it's like leaks over into family life, and like everything just gets ugly. Yeah, it really does. It does. I am a very big proponent on partner. I'm glad to hear you say that, because a lot of people are like, oh, you can't trust partners, but you got to find someone that aligns with your moral compass. And I feel like you can trust them there, but you can do so much more with another person. Yes. I tell people all the time, they're like, well, how do you pick your partner? I'm like, honestly, I go to dinner with them. I'll go to coffee with them. I'll go to lunch with them quite a few times. Like, I want to know, what's their family like? What's their daily schedule like? How are they treating the waitress when we go out to dinner? Yeah. Like, what do they think they're good at? I don't even want to talk about like business and my business structure and flipping houses.
I want to know, like, at your core, who are you and what's important to you and what are you trying to do in life? I get more out of that than I do, like, tell me what you know about flipping and wholesaling. I don't care. I can teach you that. I can't teach you how to be a good person and be able to self-recognize what your strengths are. So
you can tell a lot about people by the way they treat waitresses and waiters and like the bus boys. I worked in that at Denny's, like, we know.
Yeah.
And people are like the bus boys, they treat them like they're garbage. It's like, listen, those guys that are cleaning your table, that are back there and washing dishes and getting it ready, they're there so that I can actually serve you food.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and so you can tell a lot. Yeah, I always tell them, I'm like, listen, make sure you're more, and then, because I'm a Christian, and people go, oh, I've had Christians rip me off. I don't want to work with another Christian. It's like, okay. So everyone can name a category of someone who has treated them poorly in the past. Being Christian doesn't mean you still don't do dumb things or treat people bad. That's not a guideline for I'm an amazing person because I'm a Christian. Like, talking to Christians that rip people off left and right. So I'm like, find someone, like you said, go out, eat, find moral compass, make sure you align in that. But more importantly, when you make the decision, be so clear about each person's duties.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people are afraid to have those conversations. It's like, well, it's like getting married. Like, you're going to partner with somebody for a while. It's like a marriage of a sort. And you need to make sure you work all the stuff out first.
Yeah.
Because the divorce rate's high.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I agree.
It is. Now, where were you raised?
In Pennsylvania, just north of Philadelphia.
Oh, I love that area over there. What's that place over there in Philly? There's a big, it's a big giant warehouse kind of a thing. Oh, it's a whole place. You go in, it's like some kind of a market.
Yeah. The name of it's escaping me right now, but I know what you mean. I love
to go there. I have had some of the best. I was there a year or two ago. I had Spam.
Okay.
There's a place that made like Spam sandwiches. And I was like, oh my God, I haven't even seen a person that knows what the word Spam is since I was like a child. And so it's a big market. Like, there's the Amish food, there's all the things. And I was like, I got a Spam sandwich. And my husband was like, I can't believe you're eating that. I'm telling you, it was like the best thing I ever had.
Yeah.
I went back like 3 days in a row. I was like, can you just make me another one of those Spam sandwiches? Not Spam. Scrabble.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yep. I just sent my parents, there's a stand there that has like PA Dutch food. My parents moved to Naples, Florida a couple of years ago. So I actually just sent them like a big tower of like, lemon and bologna, pretzels, like all kinds of stuff from like Pennsylvania. And they were in a Reading Terminal Market down there in Philadelphia.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, so Scrabble, not Spam, Scrabble, because Scrabble's like, I always just thought it was like a Southern thing. And I lived in Florida for a long time. I never saw Scrabble, never heard of it again. And I was there right into market. I was like, is this like Scrabble, like from like the old fashioned? Like, oh my God, they this big old sandwich. It's all crunchy and crispy. I thought, this is the best day today. My husband's like, that's terrible for you. I'm like, I know, but I eat good 99% of the time. I think you can have a little bit of something here and there. It's not going to kill me.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't have had to take a bite. He's like, I wouldn't put that in my mouth. The last food on the face of the earth. Like, it's so delicious. So delicious. So let me ask you, tell me, what is your favorite band? Your favorite band of all time?
Oh my goodness.
You only get to name one.
I love all kinds of music. I've been obsessed with the Lumineers for a long time.
I like the Lumineers too. I love Lumineers. You're the first one that ever gave that as an answer.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know that a lot of people know who they are. I'm like, oh my God, they're so great.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't talk about them. You don't hear about them a lot, but I love their music.
Yeah. No, I do too. I just was watching some videos the other day. I was like, oh, this band, like, more people need to know who these people are.
Yeah.
You're the very first person in all the whole 4 years that said the Lumineers. So we're sending you some love, Lumineers. So you know what we want? We want free concert tickets right here. When we start listening to you just send us a couple free concert tickets. Everyone will come. We'll be like groupies in the front row.
Yep.
Right?
Right. We're out here spreading the word.
What's your favorite food?
Oh, chocolate. Hands down, dark chocolate.
I know, I love chocolate too. I don't know anybody hardly that doesn't like chocolate. I'm on some weird, crazy kick right now. I cannot stop eating Nutella.
Oh, I just had Nutella the other day for the first time because I did like a pancake bar breakfast for family, and I had Nutella as one of the toppings. And I try not to buy it because I'll just eat it like out of the jar nonstop.
I'm up here at my dad's, and he was in the hospital and he had COVID, and so he's at physical therapy. So I try not to keep too many sweets in my house because I was like, I'm really anxiety ridden. I need some Nutella. So I bought a whole jar, and I've only been here for 3 weeks, and I'm on like my 4th jar. It's like, oh, for the love of God, I can't buy it anymore, but it's so good.
It is so good. I love it.
Now, where's your favorite happy place? Like everybody has a place in the world or somewhere where they go there and it's just like,
Yeah, Arizona for sure. Hiking in Arizona.
Oh,
yeah.
I like that. I've only been in Arizona twice. And both times, oddly enough, I ended up there going in July.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh my God, it's so hot. Who could live there?
It's so terrible.
It was just weird the way it worked out. And I had to go for speaking, but I was like, wow, what a really beautiful place. But I've never actually been there any other time when it was not the dead of the summer.
Yeah, winter's the best time to go. It's like Groundhog's Day. It's like 75 and sunny every day in the winter.
Every day.
So nice. Yeah, so nice.
It is so nice. So is that your goal to be there someday or have a place there or second or third or fourth home there?
Yeah, we actually we were snowbirds there for 3 years in a row. And then last year, my husband and I sold our house and we went in our RV around the United States for a year. Yeah, we just got back from that in November. So we're back in Pennsylvania. We kind of had like a little fender bender with our RV. So now we're back trying to plant roots again in Pennsylvania. So we're like living in a little short-term rental temporarily while
you went like all over the United States in your RV.
Yeah, it was cool.
Did you love that?
I loved it.
I know. I want to do that. I feel like I want to vagabond for a little bit.
It's so awesome. I highly recommend it. Like, it changed me as a person for the better. I highly recommend. I tell everyone, just take a year and go do it. Just go do it.
I told my husband, I said, look, we have internet, we have computers, you have everything you need. You have every single thing we need. So I was telling him, I said, maybe like, next year, so with COVID's like, not quite so bad. I said, I really, 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 before I'm like too old to really enjoy it, like we can go places and get out and hike and camp and, and do a lot of stuff. Like I really feel like the need coming on to go vagabond for a while.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be like really freeing and good for your soul.
It's awesome. It's so awesome.
My gosh. I know. I'm jealous. It's like, you're doing one of the things I've been wanting to do for a while. My daughter's working on that right now, and she's in her mid-30s, 33. And so, I started real estate when she was a baby. I'm like, you're doing what I want to do. And I just never have yet. But I'm feeling like that's something I want to do in the next few years for sure.
Yeah, you'll love it.
I see people doing it, and I follow a lot of people on TikTok and YouTube and especially Instagram. That's how they live, and I'm like, it looks like so nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It looks like it. Well, good for you. Thanks. Really, good for you. Good for you. Good for you. So you are so fun and so interesting, April. So fun and so interesting.
Thanks.
You have like something you want to make sure that people know about you or where to find you or something specific that you do. And I want to make sure everybody knows this thing that I didn't cover.
Not really. I mean, people can just follow me on YouTube at April Crossley. That's the best place to kind of find me, or Instagram, same thing, April Crossley, to kind of learn more about me and what I do. And yeah. That's it.
All right. So let's see. So I take a lot of notes. So let's see. My goal is always just to sort of like just get like a little bit of a piece of what the person is about. And then I always encourage everyone to go find you, watch you, learn more about you, to dig deeper. So April at lazygirlria.com. I already fell in love with that the minute you said it. I was like, I love that. You had a baby when you were 16, which really kudos for you because, a lot of people wouldn't have not made that choice at such a young age.
Yeah.
And then you went through welfare, went to work, went to college, did biology, respiratory therapy, thinking about going on for a master's, and like had to stop for a second and discovered real estate and said, boom, 35, that's it. I done. I quit, getting rid of everything. I'm jumping into real estate.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. And your tips for us are the tips are to have a mentor, And if you can't afford a mentor, just a positive, motivational help, just do things you don't feel like doing them, but just have somebody that can feed positivity into yourself. I always like to tell people, just talk out loud, call things into existence, walk around your house. Yes. I'm amazing. I'm amazing. I'm amazing. People love me. People are drawn to me. I'm an amazing investor. Because sometimes people can't afford those things, but there's so much motivation out there now. It's like you have to be under a rock if you can't find somebody to talk to you.
Yeah. Yep.
And I like your idea about partnering. And I also love your idea about private money because it helps them, but it also helps you scale. Yes. And maybe you can eventually be the lender.
Yes. Yep.
I love it. And you love the Luminaires. First one to say that. So I everybody listen to them. If you know them, let them know that we want some tickets.
Yes.
No shame in asking. And you love chocolate and you love hiking in Arizona and you just got done from a year of RV traveling.
Yeah.
Oh, you are such a fun person.
Thanks.
That was so fun. So at the end of all the show, so again, folks, I'm Dwanderful.com. Opt in at Dwanderful.com. You'll have 4 free ebooks. And then April at LazyGirlRia.com. Also Lazy Girl on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. Yep. And I love the name. As soon as I heard the name, I was like, oh, I got to interview this girl. Anyone that just straight out says it, I was like, that is exactly right. At the end of every show, I give out a life equity assignment. So if you're new to Dwanderful, you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you listen all the time, you know. I have something I call it the 5 equities of life. I wrote about it in my books. I talk about it. It's part of my podcast. And I feel like everything in our life falls under basically 1 of 5 categories. Spiritual, financial, physical, mental, and family. And everybody falls in there somewhere. And I'm really about helping people have balance because I really feel like I feel like you can't really be happy unless you have balance. And I know for myself, I've been so out of whack so many times. And when I am, everything's a mess. So we love our guests to honor us with the life equity of the week. And I always tell people, I really don't ask in advance. I'm hearing it for the first time when you give it to us, because I don't want to know in advance. I want to hear. So what life equity are you assigning us? And what's our task for the week?
So life equity is going to be family.
Oh, I love it.
The task is to coordinate like a family breakfast or family dinner or family lunch, doesn't matter, 1 day a week or just 1 day this week. This is something I've implemented in my life because I will work. Like I'm the type of person, someone will have to drag me away from my desk and I'm always creating and working. And when I left for a year to go travel in the RV, I don't have a big family and I don't have sometimes a very good family. And I really missed my son. And I always used to just talk about how people have such great families and they seem to be so close and have such good families. And like, I never really had that for like many, many years. And then when I was on my RV trip, I'm hiking one day and I'm thinking, but why is that? I can have anything I want. So if I want a really great, tight knit family, then I need to start making that a priority. So I decided as soon as I come back once a week, every week, I'm going to have like a breakfast, lunch, or dinner where I invite everybody in my family. I don't care who comes, like cousins, my son, if you can come, great, come. If you can't come, doesn't really matter. Maybe you can come next week. But I think it's kind of strange, like, growing up, I only saw the majority of my family on like holidays.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is that? Like, I should be seeing these people more often. So now I never divert from that. That's my priority. Once a week, this happens no matter what, a family breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
I love that. I think that I talk to people all the time and they'll be like, well, I haven't talked to my brother in 10 years. They did this or this to me. I think, listen, my sister died from breast cancer when she was 50 years old. I'd give anything to talk to her. You be sitting around with all these siblings and you don't talk because they, made you mad 20 years ago. It's like, what is that?
Yeah.
And people don't realize, if you don't have a big family or you lose someone in your family, I'm a small family too. People don't realize like those people are important. And somebody's got to be, there always has to be someone that's sort of the ringleader.
Yes.
For the get-togethers.
Yeah. And I even tell people if maybe you're on the outs with family or your friends are more like your family, which that is the case for some people, then have it with your friends. But like, I'm big on like, oh, we'll get together at Christmas, or, oh, I'll see them then, or, oh, maybe I'll see them in a couple of weeks. Now I'm like, no, everybody's welcome once a week. And this is where I'll see you at least once a week, So
and
now
your family probably loves that you do that.
They love it. And it's so good for my soul. I love it. Like, it fills my heart so much. Like, I love it. It gives me such a more like positive outlook on life. I can't tell you. Like, I love it. I don't like the whole only seeing people at holidays, only sending them flowers at their funeral or on their birthday, or like, say the things you want to say now, send the flowers now, send a positive note card now, do the lunches now. Like, that's my thing for 2022. Oh,
I love that. So that's a new you in 22. That's your new you in 22 thing.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that. After my sister got sick, I thought, I never see my cousins. I never see anybody. We all live close to each other. So I have made a much bigger effort, because I was always like a Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, like that's when you see your family. And then, they're not really they're in your life. They're not a part of your life.
Right. Yeah.
And so I am all about, especially now that I've got grandkids, it's like, no, I'm going to be a part, like a regular part, not like I'll see you at the holidays.
Yes.
So I love that too, because I don't know that a lot of people think that way till they get a little older. Right.
Yeah.
Maybe. I was like in my 50s before I started thinking I should make this more of a priority.
Yeah. I think that's part of the RV trip. Like, I left for a year, and the one huge thing I got out of it is it just made me so grateful for everything. Even like being in the same area as my family and being able to call them and say, hey, do you want to do this like last minute? Or can I help you with this? Or being able to help them. It made me grateful for like having family in my life, and made me want to see them more often when I knew I was coming back.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you for sharing your heart with us. That's really sweet.
You're welcome.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So one last time, everyone can find you at april@lazygirlria.com. Again, you can find me at Dwanderful.com. The podcast is the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. And I want you to do me a favor. If you love today's show, you liked it, you laughed, you learned, just anything at all, I want you to leave me a 5-star review and write something and subscribe. I also want you to track April down on all her different social medias and subscribe and follow her as well. Because we all do what we do. I mean, I don't know about you, but I do what I do because I look at myself like, if a broke single mom from Denny is going to become a millionaire and teach other people, nobody else has an excuse.
Yes.
It's like, and you're the same way. You were 16 years old on welfare, and now look at you. It's like people like excuses. Is like, stop with the excuses already.
Yeah, agree.
You have to overcome. You just have to overcome. All right. So now I'm going to ask you to do something a little bit hard to do. I want you to leave us with a parting word, but it has to be like a single word. Leave us with a parting word that we can ponder on this word for the week.
Impact.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Impact. Okay. That is your word. Y'all got your assignments. I want to thank you for tuning in and being with us, April. I just thank you, and God bless you, honey. You're so darling.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. So everyone, remember, we'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And the truth is in the red letters. So ciao. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, Miss April.
Bye.